Now, it's no secret that NBA 2K seemingly does not care about MyLeague in any of their games in any way, shape, or form. We've all seen that as users going from year to year, from pretty much 2K16 all the way up to NBA 2K20 right now, basically having the same layout. And, with that said, it kind of is understandable why, a huge franchise like 2K would not care about MyLeague, and it's pretty simple, honestly. It just doesn't make them any money. Now, there's pretty much two big modes that 2K actually kind of does care about a little bit, and that one being my career and two being my team. And now, if we ask ourselves, why do they care about those, and why don't they so much care about MyLeague? And the answer is pretty obvious: is that my team and my career make them money. MyLeague, there's not even a single option to purchase anything. And that, it does make sense if we're being totally honest. And even with that said, I mean, yes, they do care about these other two modes, but it doesn't seem like they care that much. My team sucks. Nobody likes it. I don't think anybody likes 2K20. And I don't think there's many people that sit here and say, I've seriously enjoyed a good 2K game in a while. I think maybe 2K18 was the last really good 2K. My team servers suck. It seems like they're always doing something stupid. Ronnie's always doing something stupid. And then you look at my career, and yeah, it's cool that you have like an interactive story and you can, I guess, make yourself or make whoever you want in a my career situation. But ultimately, the stories are really never that fun. They only take you so far, and then what? You're just stuck with your guy, and you got to purchase a bunch of VC to make him good. So with all that being said, my team, my career, not the focus of today's videos. To be honest with you, I don't play those a lot. I just don't. I don't find them entertaining enough. And yeah, I know you might think, what the hell is wrong with you? You find MyLeague entertaining. If this is your first time watching me, thank you. First of all, welcome to my channel. Please make sure to subscribe, smash the like button down below. But today, if you could not tell, we're going to be taking a look at kind of my wish list, kind of some things, I need in 2K21, MyLeague, obviously. Will these happen? Probably not. So we're going to be looking at 15 things right here, and then we actually do have 3 bonus things at the end that I just, couldn't really fit on the list. So as I mentioned, 15 things, and I think there's some on this list that a lot of people would agree with. There's some that people are going to be like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Thank you very much. And there's some that people are going to be like, I don't really care if we have that or not. So feel free to leave some comments down below. If I get enough comments that, are different things, I'd be happy to make a part 2 of this video. So I pretty much got all these ideas. One from myself. I'm a big MyLeague YouTuber. I basically make a new MyLeague rebuild every single day. 2 from my comments section, because I've been asking for these comments, and 3 the internet. So that's where, I kind of got all these ideas. I think they're all really solid. I agree with all of them, obviously, if I'm putting them out to you guys. But yeah, I got 15 of them, and let's get into it. Now I'm going to try to spend between 1 and 2 minutes on each idea. Hopefully I don't ramble longer than that. It's kind of, some of these are bigger. As I mentioned, some of them are smaller. So some of them don't need as much time. Some of them are going to need a lot of time. So let's just hop into it. Number 1 here is faster sim speed, and I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me on that. It is pretty much seemed, I've been making, rebuilds here on 2K since the start of 2K16. Now, that's not as long as some other people, but it seemed like, in my opinion, the sim speed when you're simming an entire season, all 82 regular season games, and then you get into the playoffs, it takes forever. Now, look, I get it. I'm not trying to take the easy and cheap way out. As if I have to sim, I sim 3 seasons basically every time I do one of these rebuilds. And yeah, it probably takes around 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in the middle of that range, to actually sim a full entire season. And again, it's not that bad, but if you look at a game like MLB The Show, I've gone and played their franchise mode before. You can sim an entire season in like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And I get it. There's a lot more games in there too. There's 162 regular season MLB games, and you can sim that in maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Absolutely crazy. It takes so much longer to sim in here, even after you turn off everything, even after you turn off CPU trade offers, you turn off injuries, whatever that may be, you turn off, scouting, whatever that may be, it still takes absolutely forever. I don't know why it takes so long. There's really no point of it taking so long. It definitely needs to be quicker. And I definitely need them to fix that. That's like my number 1 thing with the bullet they need to fix for 2K21. Another one coming in very high here. This one actually, gave number 1 a run for its money here. Number 2, more realistic free agency contracts. Now, I know there are sliders that you can go in and kind of change that, but it doesn't, change every single, player. You kind of have to affect, positions and how old people are and everything like that. And it's honestly kind of weird. I don't know how hard it is to make realistic contracts. I feel like it shouldn't be that hard. Let's look at the contracts players are getting in the NBA and match it. Put some sliders in. And again, I'm sure there are realistic sliders out there that, I just can't figure out how to do. But how hard is it not to give Jonathan Isaac $30 million a year when he puts up 6.5 points? That's just, it's mind-blowing to me. Some things like that are just crazy because it ends up affecting you for future years, and then you have to let a player go so you can sign another player, and you should have been able to get both of them because they both should have been on cheaper deals. So it's just some things like that that are what in the world is happening? And has, gotten a little bit better, if we're being totally honest here, since probably the start of 2K16 when I really started playing MyLeague. It hasn't gotten that much better, though. And again, they introduced the sliders, which is nice. It still, again, doesn't do much there. So, yeah, more realistic contracts. I think it should be seriously taken into consideration that overalls are not the one thing that should affect contracts. Points per game, rebounds, assists, defensive stats, everything like that needs to go into the idea of how much a player should get once he reaches free agency. Now, something that I do need to give 2K credit for is the start of NBA 2K20. They did introduce historic draft classes in MyLeague. You can basically go through and get every single draft class, starting with the most recent one. And that's a really solid thing. That's something they're building on for MyLeague, and I'm honestly seriously happy they're taking that next step. They need to actually take the next step now. They need to come in and make historic rosters. When I tell you, so much of my time is sat here when I'm looking to do a historic rebuild, I'm just looking for a good roster. And it's so frustrating when you just can't find that one, or you find that one and you think it's perfect and there's just a couple things off that are just too big to still use that roster. It's pretty annoying, and it's honestly something that's really sucky that, we kind of have to deal with as MyLeague rebuilders and content creators and stuff like that. And it's sucky, but I think, honestly, they have all these historic players in the game anyways. Why can't you just go ahead and put the rosters and put them together correctly? Like, how hard is it? You did a draft class. They did draft classes going back to 1965. They can do rosters even if they go back to 1995. I would be perfectly happy with that. Just give me 25 years of historic rosters. I promise you, everybody wants it. It's not just me saying these things. That's definitely a big one. And with that, something that I can't just forget about is it kind of ties into my previous point. If you're gonna do that, if you're gonna go ahead and bless us, I guess is the term here, with historic rosters, you also need to accurately give players contracts. Not a lot of players got paid $30 million if this was 1980. It's just not. They just didn't. And so that needs to be affected. They need to make sure the cap, whole situation is set like that. That'd be absolutely perfect. That's a wish and dream that they can do that all before the start of 2K21. So that is number 4, and I think honestly that's probably one of the bigger ones. This one I got a ton of comments on, and it switched up to the MyLeague look, which I totally agree with. Except I agree with this one, except there's only so much they can actually do about this. You scroll through teams, and it's yeah, you can look at every team, whatever the case may be. How many different layouts can they really make for that? And I get it. They should try to find something new. These layouts have been, just literally updated colors, graphics, whatever the year may be. They put them in a different order. They swap out one or two things. Nothing really changes. So a whole new layout on how MyLeague actually looks, I think would actually get a lot more people interested, and I think would actually be a lot better of a product for us, the consumer. This one annoys the absolute hell out of me, because not only is it something that's annoying to deal with, it's also something that's not even real in the actual NBA. And 2K just tosses it in this game like it's something that just can't happen. Player and team options, put them before the draft, for the love of God. What in the world? Why do I have to wait? If I need to, if I need to trade a player, and you're telling me I have to wait till after the draft that key player does it, what the hell? Look at a team look at trade last year. Anthony Davis got traded from the Pelicans to the Los Angeles Lakers for Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and Josh Hart. Those players their team options hadn't even been picked up yet, and they still made that trade. You can absolutely do it. It happens in real life. It's just something that they definitely need to add to this game. It makes way more sense than actually having it after the draft. And I get it. Look, if you go in and draft somebody that's going to replace somebody, you don't want to have their team option picked up. Just trade them. It's not that hard. It's what happens in real life too. So, that one is pretty high on my list as well. I guess all of these are high on my list, so I'm going ahead and making this, this entire list. But yeah, that one's pretty much pisses me off quite a bit. Fix qualifying offers. How hard is it? I don't know why this is a glitch in every single MyLeague. This has not changed. I don't remember really all the way back to 2K16 and 17, but as long as I can remember, this glitch has been a thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically let me put it to you like this. When you offer a restricted free agent who has a qualifying offer, a contract on any day of moratorium, basically the first 3 days of free agency, they accept the offer, and then they end up getting their qualifying offer for some reason, and then they have a no trade clause and you can't trade them. Well, you can go in and edit it, but technically you're not supposed to. I don't know what in the world that is, why you can't sign a guy during moratorium that has, a qualifying offer. That's not a thing in real life. I don't know why 2K has decided to implement it in their game every year, but it's such a weird thing. Because, like, you'll give a guy who's a restricted free agent, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like a Jason Tatum, who deserves a max deal, like a 4-year max contract, and you sign him to that during moratorium, day one specifically, he's going to end up getting a contract of like $8 million for 1 year. He's restricted. And then, to make it even worse, the next year, he has another qualifying offer. That time, you can go ahead and pay him. But, like, it's like multiple years of qualifying offers, and it just makes absolutely no sense. It makes total no sense. When your rookie contract is up, you're eligible for that next contract, and you should not be giving, like, a superstar player who has rightfully earned it their qualifying offer just because this game glitches. And again, I know it's just a video game, and it's all, here or there, but, like, it's just a little small thing that's like, why do you have to do this? Like, makes absolutely no sense. That one also pretty high on my list. I feel like I'm saying that for everyone, though. Number 7 here is interactive social media. Now, this one I'm a little, like, shaky on how, like, it could actually happen, but there's a whole social media tab if you have never noticed it while loading into MyLeague. I think it's more prominent on MyGM, the interactive social media aspect, but I think it could be a huge thing on MyLeague because there's 2 different modes. There's MyGM and MyLeague that pretty much do the same thing. I think MyGM is a lot more, like, time-consuming if they actually sit down. There's a real actual GM that you have to build. When you get over to MyLeague, you're more like a mix of everything. You're the coach. You set the rotation. You're the head of basketball operations. You trade players, stuff like that. You can move the team. You can own the team. Like, you can do everything. You can play in the game. Like, you can literally do everything in MyLeague. And so I think kind of at that point, like, you should be able to, maybe interact with the media in some way. I don't want it to take forever like it does in MyGM, but, like, whether you can send out a tweet or whether, like, negative press can, affect your team and how many fans you have or whatever that may be, I think that'd be a really cool thing to move into MyLeague in 2K21. Number 8 is fix the staff for the love of God. It's the same staff every year. Maybe 1 or 2 things changes. And, like, I don't hate the aspect of, like, us having to, have a CFO, assistant GM, head coach, assistant coach, head scout, trainer. I have it up in front of me just to make sure I didn't forget. But, like, every single year, the top guys, it's Mike Stauffer, who I believe is like a developer in 2K, which is, cool. Jacob Underwood, Trent Peterson, Otis Newman, Owen Taylor, whatever the hell their names are. They're the same people. They have the same ratings. Those are for head coaches alone. If we look at trainers, it's like, actually, the head trainer's not here, but, like, it's the same people over and over. And I'm actually going to take an idea here, kind of from my, it's kind of a similar idea. But if you guys don't know who he is, Six Rings of Steel, make sure to go check him out. He's a huge MyLeague YouTuber. One of my definite inspirations and one of my reasons for actually starting, doing MyLeague rebuilds and stuff like that. He actually sent out, or he said in one of his videos, and later somebody, kind of pulled that little clip out and tagged me on Twitter, that they should put, like, the big MyLeague YouTubers as, like, media. And I think that'd be a really cool idea. Just, like, put us in there. And, obviously we're not going to control what they actually put for what we say. But, like, I think they should take it a step further and, like, put us as the staff. Who is it affecting? If you have fake staff in there anyways, and, like, the majority of people who care about MyLeague and watch MyLeague rebuilds probably know who we all are, why can't you just go in and put us in there? It shouldn't be that hard, and I get it. Look, you made the game. You want credit. Congrats, you've been doing it for 5 years. People get bored. You rinse and repeat, and eventually there's nothing to rinse and repeat. So that's just my thoughts on that one. Let's move on. This might be my most controversial one, as, it's going to be a little bit touchy. Now, VC rewards for championships, potentially. And I think there's, an interesting way to kind of make MyLeague a much more prominent, surface on NBA 2K. You do get some VC when, you go into the game, you actually play some gameplay, and then you win a championship. I think I've capped at, like, maybe 60 VC. You don't get a lot, and it doesn't have to be a lot. I don't need a ton. Again, I think it's a good way that, like, you can expand a lot of people to, start playing this game mode, and then in turn they can take that VC and use it on my career, use it on my team, and your 2 kind of most prominent modes, and while doing that, expand this one and kind of building up that and building up, a bigger audience. And so if you do something like that, it does get a little bit confusing because, like, then again, it won't be that hard to earn it. So, whether that be you have to have the sim difficulty on a certain point, which I would, totally agree with. Maybe you get 100 VC every time you win a championship. I think that's pretty harmless, and honestly, a lot of fans would probably like that. Now, number 10 here is one that I saw on, like, an online, like, forum and poll and stuff like that, where people kind of can just give their ideas for, ideas for 2K, basically. I went into the MyLeague section, and it is make the trade block more useful. And, after thinking about this one for a little while, I actually kind of agree with this statement, and I obviously agree with all of these statements as I'm putting them in my video, but making the trade block more useful. So basically, if you don't know, right now you can put a player on the trade block basically at any point, and if you don't have CPU trade offers disabled, the CPU will start to, pick it up and start offering you some more trades for that player. And while I, kind of like that idea, I think they can kind of take it a step further in that if you put a player up on the trade block, like, he, like, straight up knows about it, and, like, he requests a trade, and, like, Not so much that he's going to like sit out if you don't trade him, but like things like that can kind of affect morale. Because when I see players' morale get affected and they go from like an 87 to an 84 overall for seemingly no reason, and you actually cannot tell why that happens, or when, you know, you go in and a player's morale gets totally butthurt, and you go in and they're an unrestricted free agent in free agency, and they tell you you're not interested in negotiating with them, and they were in your starting lineup the entire year. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So if a player wants a trade, I feel like he should be able to request it as well. I think that's definitely a big thing. Then you put him on the trade block, and then those offers start coming in. Because you put somebody on the trade block right now, there's no reason for it. Like there's nothing, unless you just don't need them. Other than that, like I think like internal like chemistry problems should definitely be a bigger thing, you know, here in 2K. Having the Summer League and the G League be more useful. Now, I put the G League on here for, you know, a little bit of a reason, a little bit of just, you know, to add it. I mean, if you send a player to the G League during the season, his overall does go up, which is cool. His morale goes down for obvious reasons, but like the G League is, you know, kind of a thing right now where there's seemingly nothing you can do with it. You just send a guy down there, you don't hear from him. And then something that a lot of people don't know is after you send somebody for the G League for the rest, or for the whole entire regular season, you can bring him back for the playoffs. And I'm a total culprit of that myself. I've never really done that because my rotation's all set and I don't need that player for the year. But like, I don't know. I think making the G League more useful, maybe a little more interactive. Like if somebody, you know, can go ahead and take your player from the G League and wants him on his NBA roster, that should happen a lot more. Like it really, really should. And then the Summer League is kind of one where I was like, yeah, you know, I get it. I mean, how long do we really want to take like MyLeague? You know, how long does this want to take? So like it's in the loading screen going into the next season. So like the off-season menu, you can send guys to the Summer League. It doesn't do anything. It really doesn't. So like maybe if that can be like another form of training camps, another form of G League, something like that. Because obviously players do learn a ton in the G League. You know, after you straight up got drafted, it's your first, you know, NBA experience, I guess. So that would just be something cool, you know, to implement into 2K21. This is another one of those that I kind of saw on like a MyLeague forum or MyLeague like poll, whatever you really want to call it, and it's a what if like MyLeague scenario, and I think that can be kind of cool but also kind of confusing. I'm gonna read you guys here the post that I did end up, you know, going ahead and using the idea from. He said, I think it would be a good idea to do a what if franchise mode. You could start in any year and do a franchise with retro rosters. Possibilities are endless. Like, for example, what if Shaq stayed with the Lakers? What if LeBron never left the Cavs for the first time? What if D-Rose never got injured? The NBA landscape would have been way different. Furthermore, could change to make interesting combos through historical drafts, trades, free agency, and just saying it could be a good idea. So again, I kind of do agree with that. It's just something that's going to be super hard to, you know, kind of put into this because they have to change so much for like so many different scenarios. And again, they don't care about this mode. It doesn't make them any money. I'm just making this video, even though they're probably not going to change many of these ideas and they're probably not going to ever see it. I'm just kind of making this video as like a wish list because, again, we all want things changed. And yeah, so I think that's a really cool idea. I mean, there would only be so many scenarios. And again, even if they do it for 2K21 and they only add like 3 scenarios, build more and more year by year. That's how you get people, you know, coming back to your game. I mean, the only reason I still come back and play NBA 2K, for the love of God, is because I do YouTube, and I would not be doing it if I didn't. Because, you know, as much as I do enjoy this game, it gets repetitive. And again, don't get me wrong, I don't hate doing rebuilds or anything like that. I love doing what I do, and I appreciate every single one of my fans, and I hope you guys enjoy my videos as well. But yeah, it does get a little old and just rinse and repeat. And again, if you can, you know, maybe get some new kind of what if modes in there, I guess that would be something really cool that a lot of people would probably enjoy. This is another one here that might be, you know, a little bit challenging, and it's the layout of the actual NBA draft when you're in, you know, MyLeague. It's kind of the same thing. Like, you draft a player, his picture pops up, you can see where he goes to school, you can see how tall he is, you can see how much he weighs. And then, you know, the next thing is somebody from social media, which is the same auto-generated tweets every time, just puts it on the screen. It's like, I like this pick, he'll be good. And next pick. Like, how hard is it to like have a virtually like interactive draft where, you know, he goes up and he shakes the commissioner's hand? It's not that hard. You have their faces already. Even if they're auto-generated, even if you have to load them in, their faces are in there. I mean, I'm not expecting, you know, it to be different for every single player, but like you can go in, have the guy walk up and shake his hand and flash a jersey. I mean, how hard is that? It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, you do it in my career. You can easily move that, you know, it's the same layout probably right over to MyLeague. It's just an idea. That's definitely one, you know, I think could, you know, be cool. I don't think it's probably going to happen. I don't think any of these are going to happen, to be honest. But it's just another thing that, you know, it's a little cool tidbit that would be small, but again, could attract more people into MyLeague. Number 14, realistic CPU trades and trade offers. Now, I do give 2K some credit for this. These have gotten a lot better, you know, since I've started playing MyLeague personally. But for God's sakes, like, it seems like there's kind of 2 approaches that, you know, when the CPU is trading with the CPU, there's two approaches to that. One is when a player that, you know, seems perfectly happy and is doing really well and shouldn't be traded, gets traded for, you know, a bag of balls and ends up coming off the bench for another team, which happens way too often, and it's totally stupid. And then another one is just like kind of, you know, small, like minute trades that don't really affect anything ever. And honestly, the game is still broken in the aspect of it's just like there's no logic in some of the trades that the game actually makes, which is stupid, but kind of how it is. So my kind of idea for that is like, you take a look at a situation in real life, like the Anthony Davis situation. Like, obviously, you know, requested a trade out of New Orleans. There were a ton of teams bidding. I think it probably came down, I think it was 3. I think it was obviously the Lakers. I think the Celtics were involved, and maybe the Knicks or Nuggets or something like that. Obviously, there were a ton of packages or trade packages. I think there should be like multiple like trades you get offered for like the same player, like at the same time though. Like if a player requests like a trade, that's when those trades should start coming in. And just something like that just seems a lot more, you know, interesting. It seems a lot more user interactive, and I think a lot more people would kind of, you know, appreciate like that rather than getting offered a 79 overall Draymond Green for like a 90 overall Joel Embiid. It's stupid. It's things like that. They're like, that's why I disable CPU trade offers, because I don't want to sit through things like that. So coming down the home stretch here, let's move on to number 15. And the last one here before I do get into the 3 bonus ones we do have in today's video, you know, I've kind of foreshadowed on this one a little bit, is players actually requesting trades and having it mean something. Now, in my GM, this is a lot more apparent. Players can get pissed whether they're on the bench, not getting enough minutes, whatever it may be. I think they should bring like a little bit of this into my GM, or my league, excuse me. You know, in my GM, it kind of tends to be a lot because you have to go sit in a meeting and you have to tell him you're going to do this, and if you don't do this, then he gets pissed and requests a trade. It's like a soap opera, honestly. But if a little notification can pop up saying whoever is pissed, and then how are you going to do this? And if you don't like or if he doesn't like how you answer, he requests a trade, and whether he sits out, he still plays, he sucks it up, whatever it may be. Just like make it so it actually affects something, because like nobody in my league requests a trade. It does not happen. Like their morale may go down, and that's how you can tell they want to trade, but they don't say anything. Free agency, or excuse me, not free agency. Social media doesn't, you know, ever report anything, because social media in this game is useless. As I went over, they need to fix that as well. But that's my list of 15, and now we do have 3 bonus here for you guys. Now, these 3 bonus ones aren't, you know, as prominent as the 15 I just went over, and I think even if they didn't bring these in, you know, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. These are just 3 things that they could add that would be cool. So number 1 is there's no need for us to do the coaching rotations. There's honestly no need for us to do a lot. I think the coaching rotations is like number 1 with a bullet. If, for the love of God, if you are running like every operation of the basketball team, you're trading players, you're doing everything. And look, I get it. There's a lot of coaches in the NBA that do, you know, trade players and stuff like that. That's not really what you're doing here in my league. My league, you're kind of like the president of basketball operations. You're also kind of the owner. You're also the coach, and you can also play in game. Like, I get it's a little bit of everything. I don't think there's any reason, because if we're going to go out and hire a coach, why do we have to then go set the rotation? It just doesn't make much sense to me. I think that's definitely something, you know, they could remove and not a lot of people would miss, if I'm being honest. Bonus number 2 here is make teams relocate more often. Now, I don't want them relocating as much as they do in a game like Madden. I watch a little bit of Madden rebuilds, and it seems like a team relocates every video. But, like, why can't a team that, you know, I mean, there's not a ton of possibilities here, but, or, like, not even just a team relocates, like, add an expansion team. Like, I don't have to do it myself. Like, the game can just add an expansion team. Like, even if that pops up as a random scenario every now and then, that would be a cool thing that, like, you're not expecting. Because when you do a MyLeague rebuild, you know what you're getting, you know what you're expecting. So, like, if you put something in, like, oh, hey, the Sacramento Kings relocated. Oh, hey, we added, you know, a Seattle expansion team. Like, things like that would just be so cool that, like, you don't actually have to do yourself. They just kind of pop up. And again, even if they do that, there should definitely be a way to turn those things off, because obviously, you know, they could piss off people a lot. But again, just another fun idea. Number 3 here, you know, I'm not going to cut. Number 3 here is faster scrolling from team to team. Get the bug out of here. For the love of God, it takes forever to scroll from team to team. Hopefully I'm showing footage over this of how long it actually takes. But, like, when you click, like, right trigger or R2 or RT, whatever it is, PlayStation, Xbox, it's like there's like a 2-second, and again, that's not a lot of time, but, like, it feels like a lot of time when you're trying to scroll through teams fast. It just takes so long to get from team to team. So that's my thoughts. Those are my 3 bonuses. Hopefully you guys like those. So again, those are 15, I guess technically 18 things that I do want to see, you know, improved for NBA 2K21 My League. If I played any other game modes, I'd be happy to do these for my career and my team. I don't know, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know. So those videos are not going to come most likely. If you guys do want to see part 2 of this, feel free to leave some comments down below and let me know. Again, these are just my thoughts. If you disagree with me on them, that's okay. I think there's probably a lot that, I could be wrong on, and there's probably a lot that, I'm also missing that needs to happen in this game. So, again, leave some comments down below. If you guys are new, please make sure to subscribe. I basically upload every day. I do a lot of MyLeague rebuilds. I don't do a ton of videos like this just because, again, you can't do a ton of videos like this. But yeah, I basically upload a new MyLeague rebuild basically every day. I also have a podcast called Behind the Basket. If you guys want to check that out, it's in the description as well. But yeah, it would mean a lot to me if you guys could leave a like on this. It would, maybe help 2K possibly even see it if it does, get enough likes, get enough, support, stuff like that. So once again, I cannot thank you guys enough for watching and listening to me, rant for however long this has been. I've been recording here for 45 minutes, but obviously this is not going to be 45 minutes. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Any other video ideas, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. Literally anything at all. And I'll, see you guys all in the next one. Thanks.